Greetings and the best of salutations. A day of reconciliation. Top of the discussion is the quality of uh, of production, a working progress. The quality of production, a working progress. Day of reconciliation. You know, Operation Pitch In. Whereas families helping families is is enriching. Organizations helping organization is enlightening. An organization helping communities, I should say, is uh, is encouraging. Nations helping nation is enlightening. Friends helping friends is empowering. Self-evaluating of one's self-worth is inspiring. So we want to be inspired, empowered, enriched, encouraged, and enlightened. The nations helping nations should be inspiring. So we try to inspire each other, try to encourage each other, try to enrich each other, try to empower each other, and to enlighten each other. As we walk through the light of social progress, sometimes we can come to a point where there is a gloomy, dark corridor that seems to start to bring forth self-doubt. Start to doubt your ability. You could start losing confidence in yourself. Instead of being empowered, you start to feel disempowered. Instead of enriched, you start to feel that you are impoverished, poor. Instead of inspired, you become uninspired. Instead of being encouraged, you become disencouraged. And you start to suffer from despair. Humankind's one ultimate aim is accountability. Poor or weak when it comes to one's accountability. Quality, quality in production. We want to be able to live a decent, respectable, and quality life. And one's ultimate aim is complete civility. But there is accountability as well as it pertains to civility. But yet we must display the responsibility of being accountable, because we all have to face the consequences of our actions, whether good or bad. You know, there is something that was written about the new aristocrat. Um, you look at the word crat associated with the word krasi. Krasi is strength and power, and the art of displaying one's strength and power. The art is one's way of life, of displaying strength and power. And what many use to display their strength and power is their influence, and use their wealth to influence the other. So we're competing over influence. There's an article that was talking about during the time of Teddy Roosevelt, the Rough Rider, who made his fortune as a chairman of the Standard Oil of Indiana in the early of 1920s. It was considered the way to display his wealth and power and having the influence over others was through money, because people seem to gravitate to the material, but yet there is no balance with the spiritual. You know, people become very highly emotional, but yet they are not logical. Yes. What is this class of people who have mastered the old trick of consolidating wealth and passing it on to their next generation? It pertains to the power, the privilege, and the prestige. Pass it along at the expenses of, and really they pass on not only their wealth, but they pass on the methodology of obtaining and acquire wealth to their family, which is associated with, which is nepotism, and then again at the same time, but at the expense of exploiting other people as they pass it on to their children, and they go about the same way, displaying their wealth and power by passing it on to their children. And it becomes institutionalized. It becomes a ideology that one seeks to honor and protect. Yes, we also in society, when it comes to the quality of production, a working progress, because we all are working a working project. The best project that one can work on is him or herself. Looking at in these days and times, was that the ideology of using one's influence through wealth, and one's wealth to influence others to come on their side, and to their thinking in a subjected manner. And when you become subjected to that thinking, that becomes very oppressive, and naturally your mind becomes suppressed. Yes. Then you start to unable to utilize uh, your mental faculties to be able to reason with progression. Yes. So we become unreasonable people and very irrational and very illogical, which makes one become very delusional and deranged, and not displaying the capacity to be able to reason one with another. Yes. So we look at, you know, importance of coalition building in certain organizations who which puts the organization in a position with other organizations being a part of it and being supported by outside influence, by outside support, um, that they would be able to create a power base, coalition building to create a power base to affect change through policy. And you look at I think, um, what is it, these movements, Me Too or Black Lives Matter or what have you. I don't know if the two are connected with one another, but other organizations um, will join that particular organization because it becomes a power base, and that's how you can affect uh, you know policy, or through change by way of policy. But I've learned that change is a product of human effort, and it's to a higher synthesis, a higher level of a of being, not only being useful, but living a meaningful, decent, respectable, and quality life. Because you can tell the psychology of one's mentality by what he or she produces. Yes, the higher synthesis. Yes, and so, and we see the climate and the in which one lives when it comes to the environment, and that still has something to do with mentality and the challenges and feelings of inadequacy that one has. And I realize that people have deep-seated feelings of insecurities and feelings of inadequacy that makes he or she to become very violent, because they try to compensate for the deep feelings of inadequacy and feelings of insecurity. So these day of reconciliation is to reconcile our differences, become a friend again to self as well as to others, and that is very empowering, which means you become official. And we think of supremacy. I think of it metaphysically is really to be friendly, to be kind, to be generous, and to be courteous toward each other in the best of ways for the development of one's intellect, for the greater good of one's humanity. You know. So there is a learning curve when it comes to the quality of what is being produced, when it comes to um, one's humanity, and development of one's intellect. That we must reconcile our differences and deal with our grievances um, that we may have. If not, one's intellectual aptitude for learning and the environment becomes thrown off, unbalanced, and therefore we become very easily offended, and when you become easily offended, you're dealing with hate psychosis, and you become more emotional and less logical because if one lives in life as an aspirant, one finds that balance, that balance. Yes. So if that be the case, that leads to egalitarianism, and we can build on the on equity, you know, on equal basis, But but we do a disservice when we interact with one another superficially and artificially based on their material gain and their material success, but yet they are not uh, spiritual. For example, we use the term a liberal, and he or she may be more progressive, but no one deals with the idea of the fact that no one deals with the idea of the fact that deal with one's humanity, you know, one's humanity, and what is important is the one's humanity, and you can tell the way where one's humanity is how he treat other human beings, and that includes his family. But you can tell one's humanity really of how he treats um, nature, how he, uh, like maybe Howard Thurman, who he found, that which he called people call God, the spirit in everything. You know what I'm saying? But that's in nature, founded in nature. You may alter the characteristics of an individual or a person or a people, but you can't. The nature that's very diabolical. Because we have a natural inclination to do good, but the good must be cultivated. You know, the good must be cultivated. Yes. So, if that be the case, we must further, continue to give through um, random acts of kindness. We must continue to pay it forward, uh, uh, be an inspiration to self as well as to others, become more generous, more goodwill, more kind hearted, more neighborly, and show more love. When I think of love, I think in the manner and way in which we communicate as a family, our humanity one with another. So we must pitch in um, one with another when it comes to becoming a friend again to self as well as to others. When it comes to self-evaluating self, we want to empower, we want to encourage, we want to enlighten, we want to inspire. All these things are inexchangeable. When friends are helping friends, families helping a family, organizations helping communities, nations helping nations. All of these things are inexchangeable, which means they can go. The results can go in any at the result of any of them. And it can be inspiring, enriching, enlightening, um, encouraging, and empowering. And remember that once we establish the universality of our relationship with this creation, this concern with great concern and its purpose in the abundance of what it produces, the quality of what it produces, or what has been produced when it comes to the natural resources, when it comes to the species, when it comes to all that uh, encompass this creation, from the natural carving of the glaciers, from the lookout hills, from the seas, from the planets, stars, the blade of grass, the smallest insect, from the fastest animal on foot, from the slowest animal on foot, the fastest animal to fly, to the slowest animal that flies, to human species, to all that exists. May we learn and continue to reconcile our differences with this, what has been created within us for the benefit for us. As long as this universe has existed, it is designed to assist us and benefit us in the abundance, that we do not become driven by the only disease that cannot be cured is greed, and we develop this appetite that is uncontrollable, unmanageable, and unchecked. And we and our humanity, we place it and jeopardize it to a point where it becomes extinct, that our feelings become so desensitized and our thoughts become demoralized and our attitude becomes dehumanized and our communication becomes devitalized and our activity becomes destabilized. So therefore we develop a spirit of apathy. That which occupies the mind, conditions the mind, that's the nature of the mind. Einstein never said it better. The same level of consciousness that created the problem won't solve the problem. Let us reconcile our differences when it comes to our humanity, for the greater good and development of the intellect, because nothing is more powerful than our mind, and the brain is just a filtering process. That we go beyond race, class, gender, religion, politics, economics, education, that we first establish the human person, that we identify with our humanity, because we are global citizens, international cooperation, global solidarity, that our way of life and true strength of power is the manner and way in which we treat each other beyond race, class, gender, religion, politics, economics, and education. And this new way of thinking when it comes to terms and practices that our strength and power truly lies in our humanity, in the way we treat one another. So we must have the right attitude about our humanity, our self in the world. On this day, this month, October, Day of Reconciliation, Operation Pitch In. Families helping families, communities, organization helping communities, people helping people, nations helping nations, evaluating self when it comes to self-worth. May we continue to, our humanity continue to be enriched, inspired, enlightened, empowered, and encouraged. Until next time, Common Humanity Mission, promoters of the value of self-worth, mandate is to cultivate the potential of knowledge that is in us all, and to communicate with precision a clearer image to the world through 5 channels of communication: understanding, tolerance, temperance slash temperament, which is the bridge, the Sandhyata or the Sarat, confidence, and respect. In the words of Kwame Ture, the duty of the conscious is to make the unconscious aware of their unconscious behavior. SeeHumanity.org is the website. Common Humanity Mission. Until next time, talk to you. A day of reconciliation.